They looked at me like I didn't belong, like I'd wandered into the wrong cabin. Gate 12, Flight 407 to Denver. I handed over my boarding pass, 1A, first class. She barely glanced at it. "There's been a change," she said, already turning away. "Coach is down that way." No explanation, no apology. Just that flat, dismissive tone people use when they've already decided who you are. So I walked, past first class, past my assigned seat, down to row 22, middle seat, back of the plane. People watched but said nothing. The air got thicker as I sat down between two strangers, who didn't look at me either. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't protest. I just looked out the window, pulled out my phone, and whispered 5 words that froze the whole plane. "Activate Protocol 12, right now." 6 hours earlier, I left my penthouse suite in San Francisco. Quiet morning, no security detail. I like to travel light. The reservation was made weeks in advance. First class, priority clearance, no fanfare. I'd learned not to make a scene. But that didn't stop people from making one for me. They see the skin, not the portfolio. They see the sneakers, not the assets. At check-in, the airline rep triple-checked my name. "You're booked in first," she said. "Yes," I replied. She smiled like it was a glitch, then printed my ticket anyway. Security pulled me aside for a random search. Twice. The lounge attendant asked if I was someone's assistant. Every step of the way, it was the same story. Suspicion wrapped in politeness. I dealt with it before, but today I was tired. Not from the weight of what I carried, but from how often I had to carry it alone. At boarding it happened. Gate agent looked up, saw me, and her expression didn't change. "There's been a reassignment," she said. "Seat 1A was double booked." I showed her the confirmation email, the elite status, the corporate partnership code. Still, "Sorry, coach is that way." I looked at her. She didn't blink. So I walked, but I wasn't going quietly. Minute 1, the engines fired up. Minute 2, the captain's voice crackled overhead. Minute 3, a flight attendant whispered something to the co-pilot. He stood and walked forward. I stayed silent. Row 22 was cramped. My knees pressed into the seat in front of me. The man beside me was already dozing off. No one spoke to me. Minute 4, the stewardess walked past me twice, like she was checking for something. Not for someone, for something. Minute 5, my phone buzzed. 2 words, confirmed. En route. Minute 6, the cockpit door opened. A uniformed man I didn't recognize stepped out and scanned the cabin. He looked at me, then nodded, walked to the galley, whispered again. The tension was shifting. Passengers started fidgeting. A baby cried. A businessman opened his laptop, then closed it. Minute 8, another message buzzed in. "Flight ops suspended. Await your move." I stood up. Walked to the front, calm, no rush. "Sir, please take your seat," the attendant said, firm. I ignored her. Kept walking, quiet. When I reached the cockpit door, the pilot was waiting. Pale, nervous, eyes locked on mine. "You downgraded a seat," I said. Then I slid my card across the tray. "I own the fleet." Malcolm J. Carrington, chairman and CEO of AeroWest Holdings, the parent company behind the airline. The aircraft and the contracts they didn't even know they were violating. I wasn't just a VIP. I was the man who leases 38% of this airline's fleet and negotiates their maintenance deals through 3 subsidiaries. And now, their staff had just publicly humiliated their controlling stakeholder. I showed them the dashboard on my phone. Corporate incident report. Real-time legal tap-in. Board member alerts already sent. The flight was grounded. The takeoff window revoked. An internal audit was launched before the plane even left the gate. "You made a judgment call," I said to the pilot. "But you forgot to check who you're flying for." I turned to the gate agent. Her hands trembled as she tried to explain. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. "Your decision didn't just cost me a seat," I said. "It cost you your runway." The plane was emptied. Passengers rescheduled. Compensation vouchers handed out. Confusion everywhere. No one got a full explanation, but the whispers spread. A woman recorded part of the conversation, posted it on Twitter. They kicked a black man out of 1A, but turns out he owns the airline. By the next morning, it had 4.2 million views. News outlets picked it up. Black CEO grounds plane after racial profiling. Comments poured in, some in support, others in denial, but the truth didn't need defense. That same day, the airline released a statement. We are reviewing internal training and restructuring our gate agent escalation procedures, but reviews don't change what's already exposed. The gate agent was suspended. The pilot retired early, quietly, and I received 37 formal apology emails from people I'd never met. But that wasn't the victory. The win was the policy rewrite. A new protocol on Carrington compliance was introduced across 11 airports. No VIP or corporate-coded reservation can be reassigned without 3-level confirmation. Real-time escalation training required for all first-class attendants. Quarterly inclusion audits embedded in HR. 1 week later, I flew again. Different city, different terminal, same airline. This time, no one blinked. The attendant smiled. Welcome back, Mr. Carrington. I nodded, took my seat. 1A quiet, just how I like it. I looked out the window as the ground crew prepared for departure, and I thought about everyone who doesn't own the airline. The ones who get moved without question, labeled without proof, judged without knowing. I thought about the kid who saw that clip online and realized he's not crazy. He's not alone. He's not powerless. And maybe that's the real reason I said something. Not for this seat, but for the next person who won't have to say anything at all. Because sometimes, you don't need to raise your voice when the system finally knows your name. They didn't just downgrade a seat. They revealed their ceiling, and I was already flying above it.